I'm a little worried. I'm a little worried about the state of these Democratic primaries. And my main issue of concern right now is the fact that the progressive base is becoming fractured. And I think the media is now starting to play a huge role in that. So lately, Elizabeth Warren has gotten this huge swath of good press. She's going across the country. She's unveiled this economic patriotism platform to combat some of the Rust Belt manufacturing loss. She is going hard on policy, and that is starting to pay off. The 2% wealth tax, the Green New Deal reiteration that she stole, and then, of course, you have this economic patriotism platform. And she's going across the country. She is bringing policy specifics. She is bringing economic populism. She is starting to wake up. And the media is playing an extreme role in that. They are giving her the best press you could possibly ask for if you're a progressive. So, for example, here's this MSNBC clip of them just
It's heartening
slobbering
to
over
see
her.
this, I'm sure. A new Michigan poll shows 5 candidates ahead of Trump in statewide head-to-heads. Biden, Sanders, Buttigieg, Warren, and Harris. The table is back, Matt.
You saw in that clip what I think a lot of people don't realize about Elizabeth Warren, which is she is very dynamic on the stump. And I think you see her rise. I think a lot of things are attributable to her rise. One, obviously her position on an impeachment is where the Democratic base is. I think her policies are where the Democratic base is. And importantly, probably not just where the Democratic base is, but she has an answer to the problems of deindustrialization that Donald Trump offered a false answer to. She has a real answer with policies to address that you haven't necessarily heard from others in the field yet, at least in the detailed way she has.
Movement. But when it does come to the Sanders-Warren situation, I think that it's more about Sanders came in and he had that support of being the outsider against the establishment from 2016. And he just thought he had it. And he didn't realize that he had to keep earning it. And Elizabeth Warren assumed nothing, and she's just grinding it out, doing her job, going from town hall to town hall, offering policy. And I think Bernie seems a little mean and angry right now.
Now, they're talking about how, oh, well, Elizabeth is taking away Bernie's base. He's not really going out there. He's mean and angry. Now, what's the actual reality of this race? Well, Biden is at about 33, 34%, standing tall, starting to drop a bit from his post-announcement bump. As the more people hear him, the more people despise him, and that will continue to drop. Bernie is standing tall at 16 to 17, sometimes 18, 19%. And then Elizabeth Warren is a distant third in this race at about 8%. And guess what? That, on average, according to Real Clear Politics, of a consolidated average of all these polls, that is starting to drop. So this ascension that they speak of is simply made up. She has become a media darling. And this is dangerous. This is very, very dangerous because it's not like this is Joe Biden. This is not Hillary Clinton. This is not Cory Booker. This is not Kristen Gillibrand. This is not some corporate establishment tool. This is Elizabeth Warren, who, as long as she sticks to her wheelhouse of economic populism, is about just damn as good as Bernie in terms of bringing that message to the people and convincing people that she is genuine and real on this issue, because she is. But she's a media darling because she's a half progressive, because she's a progressive who toes the party line. On issues of foreign policy, Medicare for all, as I broke down a couple videos ago, you can go check that out, she is not a true progressive. She toes the party line. She cozies up to executives from the military-industrial complex. Raytheon, a huge presence in her home state, she's cozy with them. She takes donations from them. She advocates for them on the congressional floor. Extremely questionable record on foreign policy. Iran, Venezuela, Israel, Palestine, you name it. Medicare for all, she won't commit fully to that proposal. She's now out here cheating it, basically. Towing around the bush, not exactly committing to this proposal, saying, we'll see what happens. We'll see how it develops. Keep your eyes on the goal. BS, BS, BS. She's not a true progressive on other issues, and that is now why I feel like the establishment is starting to cozy up to her. They're choosing the lesser of two evils between Bernie and Elizabeth in their eyes. And they're saying, we don't want some outside the establishment revolutionary who truly has the pulse of the people across all issues. We would rather have a half progressive who, yes, she might hike our taxes, and yes, she might go after the big banks, but at least she will stick and toe the party line. And that is scary. That is very scary, because as long as Elizabeth sticks to her wheelhouse, she will appeal to the general public. That is dangerous. And this is also getting to my main concern, which is they are now fracturing the progressive base. As long as Elizabeth is this media darling, going on this huge blitz, unveiling all these fantastic economic populism policies, as long as she is sticking to that plan, she is dangerous. She is dangerous, and she will be taking as much of Bernie's vote as she can. So yes, on paper she is dropping in the polls, but that's not because she's a bad candidate. That could just be because this media blitz has just started to happen. And I do predict you will see that in the polls. She will continue to break off some of this progressive base. Now, that's not the end of the world, right? Biden will continue to drop off in the polls. But this is the catch. Bernie has to go off in the debates. He has to go off. He has to make his message resoundingly clear across all spectrums of issues. So not just his wheelhouse of economic populism, but especially on Medicare for all and foreign policy. He needs to draw those distinctions because he has been the one who has been consistent on those issues, and he will continue to be the one who will fight for the progressive cause on those issues, right? On foreign policy, a pristine record. He's consistently stood as a non-interventionist. He's consistently stood against the wars in Vietnam, Iraq, Afghanistan, interventions now in Syria, interventions in Libya, interventions now in Iran and Venezuela. So what you're seeing is a consistent foreign policy record on those issues. And if he makes that clear, he will make Elizabeth Warren look like the half progressive that she is, the half establishment tool that she is. But he has to make that clear. He has to go after it. He has to prepare, and he has to make sure that that message is heard in the eyes of the American people. If he doesn't, the progressive base will continue to be fractured, and that is dangerous. That is exactly what the media wants. They are trying to anoint her as the true progressive because she has the pulse of the people on half the issues, and on the other, she has the pulse of the elites. So they are trying to anoint her as that candidate, and that is not good. That is not good. We want Bernie. So what we have to do, and what Bernie has to do, is draw that distinction when he gets on the biggest platform possible in the Democratic debates. If he can do that, and if he can keep doing things like he did a couple of days ago, going to the Walmart executives and advocating that workers get a share of the board of executives, the board, basically the executive board who controls decisions of Walmart, advocating for that, a $15 minimum wage. That is powerful. That is beautiful. Going to the executives of Amazon and Disney saying that we deserve a non-starvation wage of $15 per hour. When you're going around the country and just bringing raw progressive populism, that is powerful. So if he keeps doing up with that and drawing distinctions on the issues where Elizabeth Warren is not the true progressive, we can repair this fracture in the progressive base and defeat Joe Biden and eventually Donald Trump. But as of right now, I'm a little worried. The media is trying to anoint Elizabeth Warren as the true progressive in this race, and I do think it's going to start to work. So Bernie has to take advantage of the opportunities that he gets coming forward, and I think we'll be A-OK just fine.